that much, but I'm constantly carrying, bringing it in the car, leaving it around my house, in the office. So it's a very, very important. It keeps your, the circulation. It keeps you everything. It keeps the toxins flushed out. It just keeps your blood flow going. It just circulation. It improves your circulation. Good hydration is just extremely important. You want to be able to identify, and again, this is another, will tie into the whole, the topic that Chris touched on about, we want to make sure that we are addressing things as important as food allergies. You want, before these allergies turn into diseases, disorders, things that have to be treated, you want to be aware of anything that any adverse reaction that you might have to food, to particular foods, water. Just be cognizant, be aware of it, and try to change, maybe make some small changes in the way you eat, make some substitutions. Just be aware, because again, that they can blossom and develop into bigger issues. Sources of pro and prebiotics in the diet can be very helpful.
That's all they have to do is. That was Megan's, not mine.
Okay.
So I don't know how to turn it off.
Well, it maybe gives everybody a little bit of a break from the talk. But anyway, so pro and first of all, I should ask: is everybody or anybody aware of what they are? What I'm referring to when I talk about probiotics, prebiotics? They refer to what I call good bacteria, that we all have a certain level, a certain number of, we have like millions of bacteria in our gastrointestinal tract. And what we need to do is always establish what I call a healthy balance. You want, obviously, those positive, those good bacteria to always outweigh the number of toxic bacteria. So a great source of probiotics, you can find them in many yogurts. You can actually take a supplement form of a probiotic. Whole Foods offers a lot of great supplements, probiotic supplements. But again, just being aware that, again, you can control the health of your gastrointestinal tract. You have the ability through the foods that you choose to eat every single day. And I think that I think it's becoming more accepted in the traditional medical community that I think for a while they weren't even acknowledging that that bacteria, the level of good, healthy bacteria was affecting does affect or influence how healthy your gastrointestinal tract is, and how healthy you can keep it. And now, thankfully, that there is widespread acknowledgement that yes, that's the case, that you can in fact alter and improve the wellness of your system. You also want to have a realistic idea of who you are, how active you are, what do you need calorically. I mean, people, there are different stages of life, people need different things, and it's nice if you have a certain level of awareness of, realistically, how active are you? Are you an elite athlete training for an event coming up? Are you a recreational athlete that works out maybe a couple times a week? I mean, different people at different stages with different lifestyles just need different different caloric intake. So that's actually something that everybody, in the back of your mind should have an idea of who am I, realistically, who am I, and do I really need all this? I want to touch on a couple of other things that I get questions about or concerns about when discussing nutrition and wellness. Sometimes and it's a valid concern. I mean, some people say to me, hey, this is great, but how can I do this on a regular basis? It's expensive. I mean, let's face it, buying organic, buying whole, healthy food can be expensive. But I think that there are some strategies that we can implement on a daily basis that will help with managing the cost of implementing these changes. And again, as I said before, the way to go is to make small changes in a progressive manner. In other words, I think, like anything else, trying to implement anything and everything all at once is going to be overwhelming for anybody, and I think it can be really discouraging. Whether I'm working with somebody on establishing an exercise protocol or revamping a diet, what I say to them is, look, we're all human, okay? So we may take 5 baby steps forward and take a couple baby steps backward, but don't let that discourage you and make you say, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. I can't do this. I was doing great, and then all of a sudden, bam. I went to a party, or I traveled for a few days for work, and I just went off the wagon. Well, get right back on. The thing is, again, it's about those small changes that you make, and take the time to realize that. Be realistic about it. We're not always going to eat. Every day of your life, you're not going to always eat optimally. But that's fine. As long as you have developed the mindset and you really believe in the philosophy of lifestyle, wellness, optimal nutrition, optimal living, that's going to encourage anybody to get right back on and say, you know what, hey, I had a setback, but that's okay because I believe in this, I believe in wellness, I believe in healthy living, I believe in nutrition, and I know the value of good food. I understand the value of providing myself, being able to interact with my environment in the most positive manner possible. Because let's face it, isn't that the goal we all want? We should all accept the challenge of improving the quality of our life. I mean, that's why we're all here, isn't it? Can anybody disagree? Honestly, does anybody really disagree with that? I mean, that's really the goal here. So let me just get back a little bit. I'm just going to kind of backtrack a little bit to the cost-effective strategy, and I think it's in here in this little, gave everybody a little bit of a packet here, starting with the grocery list. And just some, oh yeah, okay, so basically on the 5th page of the handout that's stapled, okay, how can I afford to eat well, okay? And as I just mentioned, cost may be a major consideration for some people with regard to food consumption. But I think, again, nothing is impossible. Again, if this is a priority for you, smart choices will go a long way to keeping the cost at a reasonable level. So, for an example, when eating organic, okay, it is possible to save money and avoid pesticides there are certain conventionally grown produce, fruits and vegetables, which I would say, okay, that I call them the clean 15, okay? So these are things that I would say, basically, you could go to the store and purchase on your own and not feel overly concerned about pesticide contamination. And I just realized I have clean 15 and I have a list of 12, so I will try, and I have them, I know the next 3 off the top of my head, so I'll try to, if anybody has a pen or pencil, you can jot these down. But so onions, avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, mangoes, sweet peas. These are things that, okay, if you have to make a choice, so in other words, if you're at the store and you want to make a choice between buying conventionally grown or organic, I would say the bottom 12, most contaminated, those are the 12 things that you should, on a regular, consistent basis, go for the organic. These are the things that, are very toxic and that you want to make the effort to buy. As far as in the top 3 or the top 15, these are things that you might be able to that you can buy conventionally.
Nene, can I just say one thing about that very quickly?
Yep.
One of the reasons why it's so good to consider that is because those chemical additives have been proven to literally mutate your DNA. So even though your disease doesn't necessarily come from your DNA, if you mutate it, it might.
Exactly, yeah. So, yes, so again, he's right, and again, anything really in the environment, I mean, not anything, there are a lot of other, the way you prepare a barbecue, I mean, I don't know if people realize this, but the way you cook barbecue, a lot of times, the process of barbecuing itself creates toxic substances. So again, another reason to really think about your food choices. Okay, the next page, just thought what I did again, I gave you some, oh yeah, sorry about that, okay, onions, avocado, sweet corn, pineapple, mango, sweet peas, asparagus, kiwi, cabbage, eggplant, so I'm listing so I can jog my memory, cantaloupe, watermelon,
Banana?
yeah, bananas, that's one. Thick skin, anything with really a protective skin. So I would say bananas. And what I'll do is, anybody wants me to, email me and I'll give you those other, there are two more.
Oranges?
Oranges would be one, and, grapefruit, I believe, is the other. Yes, it's grapefruit.
How about,
It's a thick skin.
how about bananas though? They use a lot of like gases to ripen them, to make them ripe.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I think, honestly, because I don't want to speak to to be honest with you, to answer your question, I'm not entirely sure, because I'm not an expert on actually how
yeah,
things are processed. So for me to stand up here and say, okay,
I know they use some type of a gas or something
and you could be
to
right,
ripen them up.
and you may be right, but what I was trying to do is just kind of develop a list if you had to make the choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you had to make a choice between buying an organic banana or, say, an organic bunch of cherries, okay, I'd go for the if it was a cost issue, I'd go for the organic cherries, because I think there's a level of comfort there.
Okay, if you buy organic of the Clean 15,
Yeah.
are you overpaying? I mean, do you not need to buy? Is that what you're saying?
I know, and this is the eternal question. You know, it's, and Chris, you could probably speak to this. I mean, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. What I would say, to be honest with you, okay, as often as I can, I buy organic. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I try to buy organic. I try to buy, you know, grass-fed beef. If I'm eating beef, you know, I try to make the most, the optimal choice, the most healthy choices I can on a daily basis. But again, sometimes, let's face it, circumstances dictate, and if you so what I try to just do is, if you have to make a decision, if you can't buy completely organic, this is the way to try to make that decision. It's just trying to give you some guidance as to how to make the best decision.
Go to market basket.
I just want to say too, when it comes to that cost-benefit assessment, you know, it's sometimes about priorities.
Right, exactly.
You know, and I don't mean that in a funny way, but you know, we all tend to afford what we want to some degree.
On what really matters to you. I mean, let's face it. You could buy, you know, your dream sports car, or you could use that money and invest it in better food. You know, better, whatever, more education. I mean, it's all about, again, making those choices. It's a lifestyle mindset decision. It comes down to that.
Invest your money in better food and less medication.
Exactly. Yep. Less frequent trips to the hospital, doctors. You know, those co-pays. You know, you just get rid of those. So let me think. I think there was another.
Can I just ask one question?
Sure.
So, like on the most contaminated fruits and vegetables, are you thinking or just kind of loosely saying, because all those are good food items,
Right.
but you couldn't wash off. You
And
couldn't wash off a green pepper.
You know,
or you couldn't wash
again,
off an apple.
yeah. I mean, you again, it's a tricky thing. I mean, yes, there are products out there. They have the specific washes for the produce, the vegetables, and things. And to a degree, I'm sure you're taking away, you know, so you're not getting the as much of the toxicity as you would be getting. However, you're right. I mean, it's not foolproof. I mean, in other words, you still are getting a certain level of contamination, and it's never good. I mean, and it's, you know, it's hard to. I mean, honestly, it's hard for me to say. I can't give you like specific levels, percentages, but what I'm saying is that, again, I'm hoping I didn't open up a can of worms here. What I just wanted to try to do is give you a set of guidelines. So again, if you want to make that